All right, you are now tuned in to the Rotated Views podcast. I am your host, Jimmylee Velez. I'm here with Gabe,
Gabe.
Goose, and a couple little ones. Friendsgiving. In this episode, the crew talks about their holiday experience of Friendsgiving with each other. We cover topics that range from Thanksgiving, the food, the people, the conversations, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Douglas Wood and Voltaire. Guys, if you're new, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to download and subscribe. We drop a new episode every Tuesday morning for your listening pleasure. Kicking things off, we have a couple of our little ones. They'll introduce themselves, who they are, and who their parent is. And they're going to go over a few things of what they're thankful for. And then we'll tune back.
James. My dad is Jimmy.
My name is Nova and my dad is Hector.
My name is Danica and my dad is named Hector.
What holiday's coming up? The one, where we eat turkey?
Happy Thanksgiving!
Thanksgiving, yeah. Are you guys excited?
Yeah.
So
I don't want to eat any turkey.
Well, that's okay.
What?
You know what? There's so many sides. I want to know what each of you are most thankful for.
On Thanksgiving?
So you go first. Tell me what you're most thankful for about Thanksgiving.
Everybody coming over.
That's my favorite part, bud.
Favorite
part. Microphone cheers.
My favorite part too.
I like it too. I like getting together with family. Right? Nova, what about you? What are you most thankful for about Thanksgiving?
I like a lot when people come over.
You do? That's the best part. All being together, right?
That's my favorite part.
That's your favorite part too, Dan?
You get to see a lot of your friends and your cousins.
Mine is getting to see each other and all being together. My favorite part is the food. All right, well, I'm happy that we had this conversation today. I love you guys with all my heart. Guys, say bye. Tell everybody bye.
Happy Thanksgiving and thanks for listening.
Happy Thanksgiving and thanks for listening.
All right, we are back. Thank you, kiddos. That was awesome. Glad we're able to feature those guys. And let's just set this up. Let's jump right into it, fellas. So, Friendsgiving. I'm going to explain a little bit of the plot and how we went about it. Obviously, we wanted to do something with just a crew. Just to, have our own little version of Thanksgiving. Obviously, people have been doing this for quite some time now, but we never really had the opportunity. This year it made the most sense, just because, we're keeping it really little group-wise. Anyway, with that being said, what we did was we ordered food, right? Got it, catered version of Boston Market is what we went with. Why not? And it was funny too, right? Because we're always talking about it. It's like, who are we gonna get? Who are we gonna get that can, number one, do it really fast, have the turnover, didn't have to put in an order the night before, nothing like that, and obviously it was just like reasonable and it made sense. Yeah. But my big thing, which these guys can tell you and vouch for me, I kept saying I didn't really truly want to take too much away from actual Thanksgiving dinner. Right. In fact, we actually weighed out other options food-wise. But we still kind of went with it. We got a pulled rotisserie chicken, we got mashed potatoes, we had cornbread, and we had macaroni and cheese, which is super basic. And we had came with brownies because when we went to go pick it up, it was really busy. And, I haven't been to this location in years. In fact, we're kidding. I think the last time I went there, it was actually initially called Boston Chicken. Yeah. And if anyone knows that in the 90s, that's some time ago. And so then they became Boston Market in our area. I don't know if that was for every location, but
yeah, I think for the most part.
Okay, so it was Boston Chicken was the last time we've gone there. But again, I literally did a Google search, fastest catering, just because it wasn't really necessarily just about the food. It was really just us getting together, hanging out, watching some football, and that stuff. So we were trying to do something that made most sense. So
something in the realm of it, but not quite doing the full Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, and let's all be honest, like we hang out with each other on a regular basis, but not that it's not meaningful. This was like this was more of a little bit bland outside of like, let's just hang out and order pizza. Because every time we basically hang out, it's pizza or cheesesteaks or something like that. And so we didn't want to do that kind of things. We felt like now that wasn't really in the spirit of what we were going
Have
for.
a little bit more traditional dinner, I guess, per se.
Guys, I got to be honest with you. We were all kind of impressed with Boston Market.
Very impressed.
First of all, like when we got there, it was popping. Like I'm talking like we were waiting in line we put in an order earlier that morning. And so it was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
But it was legit. The only thing was it was our fault because I didn't 100% check the bags. Everything looked good. Yeah. Was that we forgot our I saw the kid put the cornbread in a bag, but he never put it in our cater bag. Yeah. So we went home all the way home, and I realized I'm like, dude, we don't have. So I drove all the way back, whatever. But it's all good. It was worth it.
It worked out. We got dessert on the back end.
Exactly. So
brownies.
Absolutely, dude, and also delicious. So,
because I don't think I've ever had their brownies. Like we've had like at work for like this is about years ago too. Anyway, it was Boston Market, but we've had like the catering stuff. But I've never had the dessert part. It was always the basic like cookies. Quarter chickens and you get like the mashed, or I don't think I've ever had the mashed potatoes either. It's probably just the mac and cheese.
That's funny.
Yeah, the mashed potatoes are pretty banging. The gravy was definitely a hit. I poured the gravy all over.
I was gonna say you put it on everything.
Yeah, I was dipping the cornbread in it.
Yeah,
I mean,
super good.
Again, for us, like putting all that together, you really do only have it around seasonal, whatever, but. Having it already prepared, and the girls, I know like our girls were all offering to make stuff and bring stuff. No. Again, I didn't want to take away from actual Thanksgiving. Yeah. And who knows? This was just the first one, and it was kind of like last minute per se. Yeah. Because actually, this was supposed to take. We're going to approach this totally different, but we kind of switched up the game plan because of scheduling. And so we just kind of whipped this together in a few days. So kind of that's what we were dealing with. Maybe next year we can plan a little bit better, more in advance, I should say.
I guess the inaugural one usually is like thrown together.
We just threw it together,
and then you kind of figure it out from then on.
I thought it was still. I think it was still dope. And again, I still go back to Boston Market. And no, Boston Market is not paying us. I'm impressed.
It's just what we picked for this time.
It would just so happen it made the most sense.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, there's a ton of other places we could have gone with, but the turnaround time was what we were looking for. All right, so let's take it back a little bit. So the purpose of it was to kind of reunite the team in a more purposeful way. The same reason why people meet for Thanksgiving, right? Yeah. And so Friendsgiving, as the made up word entails, is you kind of do the same thing in a non-traditional way in a sense that you do it with your friends typically it's in addition to Thanksgiving, right? Yeah. So if you have Thanksgiving with your friends on Thanksgiving, that's not called Friendsgiving, that's called Thanksgiving, okay? Friendsgiving is on another date outside of Thanksgiving. In my perspective, somebody said, I read somewhere, someone's like, well, I went to Friendsgiving in the morning and then I'm like, okay, but that's still on Thanksgiving.
You're just splitting it at that point.
You just split your time. Yeah, this was meaningful on another day around the holiday. Yeah. And typically people do it because they consider their friends family, which obviously we consider gay family, but it was more that you're going to go out of state or your plans for, someone else is doing it. You really can't invite your friends because it's not your house, Yeah, right. Or those various items, right? And so that you feel like, because you are thankful for your friends, you do cherish sometimes our friends end up being closer than family, and that's why they become family. Sure. And so I think it's kind of cool. I think if you do it the way we did it, where it was intentional not to take away from Thanksgiving. Yeah. But to be meaningful enough to gather, eat a good meal together and chill out. So that was my first Friendsgiving. I've actually been invited, I think, to like one or two other ones. It just didn't work out schedule-wise in the past, and this was like a while ago. So has anyone here done a Friendsgiving?
I've never been, besides the one we just did the other day. No, I've never been a part of one. I've heard of other people doing it, but I've never been part of one.
I've never been. I mean, I've gotten invited to one, but never made it through. And I always wondered how that was, like going to celebrate not with your family. Because typically I've always done Thanksgiving with the family, so it was different. So, I mean, yesterday, fortunately, it was us brothers and obviously Gabe. We are part of the family, so I mean, it still felt kind of family oriented, still the same. So
Have you heard any of your friends do it?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I've never personally been to a Friendsgiving, but I know a lot of like my friends and stuff. It's like they actually do it that weekend before Thanksgiving, and they all gather and stuff like that. And then even Ava, my daughter, she does Cousins-giving. So it's like all like they're all like the kids and stuff. So all the cousins, and they do it like same
cool,
thing
like-
that weekend before Thanksgiving.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I think this past week, the way we did it was what worked out for everyone's schedule. But yeah, I have friends who same thing. They do it. It's the weekend before, and they legit go out and get like your straight up make turkey. They go the full fledged, which I'm assuming that's the way your quote. That's what it's entailed for. But I also have another set of friends who I was telling my wife about who do the same thing, but they order Chinese.
Okay.
And so it's actually catered, but it's just, Chinese food. So it's like, it's different than your, I guess, whatever traditional. So the funny thing is saying traditional, I don't even know what that really technically means anymore outside of turkey, right? I mean, outside of that, because growing up, all we saw was Puerto Rican Thanksgivings.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can speak for us.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, rice and beans with the turkey, and then we would actually have other meats. It wasn't just turkey. We had benito. So we had like a pork.
The pork shoulder.
Yeah, pork shoulder. So it was like, and we had other things. We had ham.
Yeah.
We had pateles, which is like meat pies. We had empanadillas, which is kind of like a meat. They also kind of call them meat pies.
A little hot pocket kind of thing full of meat.
But anyway, so that was our version. To me, we get the corn, we get the mashed potatoes, we get the stuffing, we get all that. Right. But there's like that little Spanish flair. And so then when I started, hanging out at my friend's house, Chooch being one of them, we would hang out and we'd have, because in school you'd be off for that whole week or whatever. So we'd have like leftover sandwiches at his house. And he had totally different stuff. Still had turkey, still had all this other stuff, but all the fixings were totally different. So it was kind of cool.
Flavoring too, I bet, huh?
Everything is totally different. The way we flavor our meats, with the seasonings, is totally different than other cultures do. So it was interesting and cool to see other varieties. So now not everyone eats turkey and blah 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 for Thanksgiving. I think the point more is gathering with friends and loved ones and capturing that moment and truly sitting down intentionally, being grateful and thankful for who you have and what you have. I mean, that's my spin on it. I'm sure there's, a few things here and there that I'm missing, but the general gist is basically what we did, right? I think I would want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I think it was
Absolutely.
cool enough, and then we could make it, we can switch it up. Maybe next time we do order some other kind of, food or
We can
whatever,
go with the Chinese if you want
Right.
to do something like that.
which I love. But anyway, which I had today for lunch. No, I'm only kidding. No, I
It
actually
was
did.
definitely feeding Chinese.
I was. Well, Kelly doesn't like Chinese. She likes Chinese food, but it's like she's very limited. She has to be like in the mood for it.
Oh, yeah.
She can eat it, but it's like she's not always in the mood for it. I'm in the mood for it twice a month. She's not.
Yeah.
She's
once in a
every
blue.
other month.
We get it at least once a month at our house.
Yeah.
And everyone eats it.
So, anyway.
Food's making me hungry right now.
So anyway, so let's kind of convert. I know we can go back and forth from Friendsgiving to Thanksgiving, maybe some other ideas or things that we can try next year. But I know typically for us, Thanksgiving is my mom in our family, or my mom does it. But last couple of years, it got switched up because of the situation. But we're going back to my mom's. And then
Can't wait for that.
This coming year, this Thursday. And basically, you kind of like everyone chips in, not necessarily like 100% like a potluck, but kind of. Everyone kind of brings a little bit to kind of contribute. So it's not up to like just our mom making everything. Of course, my mom does the turkey, goose. As of late, last couple years, she's been doing a deep fried turkey. So we have like my mom's bacon wrapped turkey, and then my brother's deep fried. So it's kind of now that turned into actually the last couple years, I've done it with him because. You kind of need another person there when you're doing it. You don't really want to do it by yourself in case you got to use a bathroom. And there's certain things you have to do. You have to be watching that turkey when you're deep frying, I should say, outside.
Because that can become a hazard, I guess.
Yes, well, it is a hazard,
Yeah.
especially if there's kids running around, you know,
Open
squirrels.
flame with
there's just,
oil.
like, everything.
Open
Yeah.
flame with oil splashing, like
It's a lot.
That's definitely flammable.
So, Goose, you want to talk a little bit about your process with that?
No, well, yeah. The deep fried turkey. It's people always think of like the worst case scenario with deep fried turkeys,
Yeah.
explosions and stuff like
Because
that.
they dunk it.
And
way
the
too fast.
reason,
Or
the
they
reason
overfill the
though,
oil, right?
the reason with that is though, it's because like the turkey has to be 100% thawed out. Like there can't be no water, no ice, no nothing. So it obviously I thaw it out like 2-3 days prior,
Okay.
and then the night before is when I season it. I make sure it's all. I wash it up, and then I use like almost a whole roll of paper towels, and I damp the whole thing, the whole turkey, inside and out, until it's 100% dry, and then I season it, and I use like a garlic butter sauce, and I like inject it like in the legs of the turkey, like the thighs, the chest, or whatever, and then I do like a Cajun rub, like a Cajun dry rub on it. But like, so the setup that I have, it's actually they came up with one that's more of like a safety hazard. So like the actual container, the big like pot that it's in,
Yeah.
it's like a little bit oversized compared to the normal ones.
Okay.
So you need like it's a gallon of oil, and so I use peanut oil. So it's a gallon of peanut oil, and then anywhere from like a 12 to 15 pound turkey. The max turkey that fits in that container says 18 pounds. So I always try to stay under so it doesn't. I don't get into
you're
that.
not going over the brim of it.
exactly. So then inside the pot there is a line. If you look at it, it says like where you fill up the oil
Max.
to.
Okay.
Yeah, the max of the oil, and then there's still like a lot.
A lot of space in there.
Yeah, there's still a lot of space. So then when you're ready to drop the bird, you have to drop it down really slow. Because if you fry anything, when you're frying chicken and you're in the kitchen, it just splats.
Yes.
So you have to drop the turkey like really slow, and like it might take like 2-3 minutes dropping it down
Just to
really
get it- okay,
slow
get it properly in there.
until the whole turkey's submerged.
Yeah.
And then it's like 3 minutes per pound. So you let
Okay.
it sit 3 minutes per pound, so it can be anywhere from 45 minutes to 50 minutes,
not
depending
bad
on
at
the
all.
size of the turkey. And like I said, the safety feature is with the setup that I have, the pilot, it's on a 15-minute timer. Or no, 10 minute. I think it's a 10-minute timer. So like you crank the timer up. So if you walk away and 10 minutes goes, it just shut the pilot off.
Oh, okay.
So that's like a safety. So you gotta
make sure you
every
constantly stay
few
there.
minutes, you just gotta keep like cranking it up,
Okay.
just to maintain the pilot burn. But like the whole process is probably like an hour and some change because you gotta let the oil go up to like 370 degrees,
Okay.
and then that
Kinda
takes like
preheat it,
Yeah,
sort
and that takes like 20 minutes. But and actually I just did it out of nowhere. Like one day I wanted to make.
wanted to try it?
Yeah, so I YouTubed it. I just went on YouTube
Okay.
and just followed the instructions.
You found
and
all the
did-
videos of everybody burning their house down.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's definitely cooked outside,
Found all the
everyone.
pros and cons. Yeah, and then so my mom's house, they're like far out of the yard. There we have like this fire pit, but it's like a portable fire pit.
Yeah.
It's surrounded by brick, so it's
Okay.
laid on brick, and it's like actually fireproof brick and stuff like that. So I removed the little fire pit, and then that's where I do it. So in case
Okay.
anything splashes, it's
It's-
not
it's
getting on the
made for that
grass. It's not getting on anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do it like in a safe area, and it's far away from the house in case
Yeah.
something does happen.
Sure.
But so far, honestly, it's really easy. Like it is not as what people think. You just got to take your time. You can't be in a rush.
I mean, you have to follow directions for the
Yeah,
most part.
exactly. Yeah, and then like Jim said, it's like became like a tradition kind of thing. So I always get like a smaller turkey. My mom gets like the main big one.
Well, yeah,
just
so you have 2 turkeys now.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, could you imagine 2 20-pound turkeys
No,
for
yeah, and
Thanksgiving?
they're 2 different flavors,
I
2
mean, it
different
depends on how many
styles.
different people.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, it's cool, and I don't know, I enjoy doing it. We've also done it not even during Thanksgiving. We did it like in the summertime one time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's just, but yeah, that's the only thing I've ever deep fried though was turkey. There's so many other things you could do with that
Oh, I can
setup,
imagine, yeah.
But yeah,
It's a pain to clean up though.
yes, it is.
So
Well,
Because
you got to
then-
find a spot to put all that oil, I guess,
Well,
right?
you gotta let the oil sit because you gotta think the oil is 300 something degrees plus.
Well, yeah.
So like you gotta let that sit. It'll take all evening, all night to like cool off.
And you leave it outside, I guess,
And
the
then
whole time. right?
and then you can't put it back in like the plastic
Container.
drum that it's in. You gotta let it cool off because then if not, it'll just melt and like it'd be a nightmare. But it is a pain on like disposing it.
yeah,
Just
so
leave it there for next year.
So we have that, then he does that, and then, other people bring in and making other things. And it kind of, anytime after 3, so to speak.
Yeah.
But depending on what's going on with the local schools, we may or may not stop by for a local high school football game because growing up, it was our town, Bristol, and our, school, and then town over in Morrisville would play a Thanksgiving rivalry game. And so, but there were some years that it happened, some years it didn't, or when it's away, like in Morrisville or something, and it was kind of hard to go back and forth and still maintain your day. Mainly, we kind of just, went to them when they were their home, or when they were the home team.
No, and it's an exhibition game too. So if either
Yeah.
team makes it to like the playoffs, that's when the game would be canceled.
Yeah, maybe
So
that's
it's-
what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, so we kind of did that, or we kind of stop at, aunts and uncles' houses just to say hi, happy
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, kind of when, as of lately with the kid, well, for me, I should say, with the kids, it's a little bit different. We're kind of hanging out with them. We'll actually go out back purposely, hang out, have football couch out back, try to rake up the leaves because it's the fall, it's the season that it is. And, James pretending to tackle me into the leaves or him jumping into the leaves. So
Yeah.
we kind of switched it to that more.
Yeah.
And then just kind of get ready, hang out, get dressed, head over to mom's, watch some football, hang out over there. And honestly, for the most part, it's kind of like an early night because it starts so early.
Yeah.
And you're tired anyway
Yeah.
from stuff in your face.
Yes.
What's that stuff in the turkey that makes you go to sleep? Is that a myth or is that actually
No,
valid?
that's actually a thing.
Oh, what is that called?
Triathlon. Little guy.
Tryptamine or something like that? Or
Yes.
Trimamine.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that, like literally like within half hour.
Tryptophan.
Tryptophan.
So, yeah, tryptophan. Turkey allegedly causes drowsiness because it is packed with a nutrient called tryptophan. Tryptophan is one of 20 naturally occurring amino acids, the building blocks of proteins. Because the body is unable to manufacture tryptophan on its own, it must be obtained through food protein.
Yeah, but see, I always heard people. It says that it makes them sleepy, but I think it might be like them just overeating, whatever. But then somebody like over the radio, I think it was either today or Friday, they said that just the what is it, tryptophan, tryptophan or triple fins, tryptophan. It's a chemical that actually makes you go to sleep, like as Jim just
No,
said.
yeah, it's a real thing.
I remember one time, so me and my buddy Wilbur and Gilbert, they've been on the show before. This is when they first moved down to North Carolina. Well, Gilbert moved down to North Carolina. Me and Will went down to visit. So we went down there for the weekend or whatever. And on the way back, we were hungry, and it was around Thanksgiving time. So we stopped at the infamous Wawa. And I look, and I'm like, yo, they got the turkey gobbler sandwich.
Yeah.
So me and him, like knuckleheads, we order the 12-inch one, like the biggest one.
Yeah.
We sit in the car, eat it, and we're looking at each other. We're like, "Yeah, we're
Ready to pass
really
out.
dumb. We still got 6 more hours to drive, and we
gosh.
just ate these turkey sandwiches."
Jeez Louise. That's when you get a hotel inside.
Yeah, no, I mean we made it, but
Yeah,
it was,
there's like science that argues both sides. Who knows? But anyway, it might be, it might not be. But regardless, I just think it's a long day anyway. You're kind of like, and there's something about, even if you're cooking, but you don't have to like go to work per se.
Yeah.
That there's something about, like, or if you ever stay home and not do anything, you're just non-productive, you're even like more non-productive. And you had all day and you barely got anything done. You
You feel like you still need to take a nap.
yeah, exactly. Or you're just, and I feel like it's kind of one of those, and then you stuff your face on top of it, and it's,
But like I said, it is a long day. Like you're preparing stuff all day, you're cooking all day, and then you finally eat, and like you overeat too. So
and then you're watching, you're just, the TV's on, or, movies, football, whatever's on, And it kind of puts you in that mood, like, dude, I can literally go to sleep right now. And then, some people have off the next day.
Yeah.
Some people are looking to get up early anyway to go
Shopping.
shopping. But obviously 2020 is going to be totally different, or is totally different. So who knows with any of that. But, that was what our tradition was. I guess is going to be changing.
Yeah.
2020 definitely changed everything. I think there's a couple states that even already put in a thing for no more than 10 people in a house. I know in Jersey anyway, that's like a thing. And I think it's highly suggested at this point. Sure. Who knows by now?
Right, it's not like set
when
in
the
stone.
time is,
They're not going to come to your door and arrest you for having more than a couple people, but
well,
I mean, I think one of the good things, like I remember, like the past maybe 10 years, people are in the middle of dinner and then they're getting up to go to the stores because the stores want to be open at 10 o'clock at night to catch the best deals. It's like you're taking away from this holiday that that we really look forward to. Spending time with the family, and they're just rushing out to the
for a gift
stores.
that person who's probably getting it is not going to remember it or wanted it, or you overpaid still.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm glad that that's kind of like in the burner now that they're not doing that.
I've never went out for Black Friday. I always worked. We always had the shop open. I've never, and it was the reason why is because we would come, we would be open, and it'd be like the dads and stuff. They're like, we open at 9. They're like walking in, like, yeah, my wife's still out there. I dropped her off. She's waiting in line. I'm gonna get a haircut, and then I'm gonna go pick her up. So like it's just so we just stay open. I mean, I'd never. Did I ever want to? I don't think it never was appealing to me to run around and like fight, argue in line. I'm very antsy, impatient type person. I wouldn't be able to stay in line or whatever.
Yeah, I remember a couple of times I went in line for a few things, and when I got into the line, it was like you needed a ticket for something I didn't know, or when I get there, it's like no longer like they're sold out.
Circuit City did us dirty on that one.
Oh yeah, with you, right? With what was it, a laptop that you were supposed to get or wanted to get rather?
That was funny, actually.
Wait, 4 hours in line. Sorry, sir. We just sold the last one to the guy in front of you.
Straight bricks, too. It was cold as any. Me and Pop were trading off running to the truck. To
try to stay warm?
Yeah. Because it was crazy. But anyway, we did. Me and Kel, we've done it the one time purposely. Like, we went out, got up early, went out. But we didn't take away from Thanksgiving. It was the next morning. And we didn't get up like nothing crazy early. But anyway, so we got a bunch of stuff, but our thing was it really wasn't for Christmas. We were getting a bunch of stuff for we just had purchased a house.
Yeah.
And we just got the house. And I think you guys came with us. We got the TV.
Yeah.
That was
late. It was late. It was like a midnight kind of thing.
It was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving where the TV went on sale at Target.
Okay.
That's what it was.
There you go.
It was like
a Black Friday sale. Yep.
But then we had Thanksgiving, and then that
Friday.
Then that Friday they had like the matching sound bar for that particular TV that I was like, I want it. Then I wanted to be all like matchy. So then we went out again. But like again, we used Black Friday, but we bought stuff for ourselves. Yeah. We just had gotten married a month before that. But anyway, so people have their whatever. And anyway, so one other time we went at store hours, like normal store hours. It was on a Black Friday, and believe it or not, it technically wasn't that bad because I guess the craziness is in the morning or the night before.
When it got earlier, like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, people were just waiting out there for the stores to open.
Right.
At 5-6 o'clock in the morning.
That's pretty insane. I remember one year. So the job that I work at now I was working 4 to midnights, and I was scheduled to work on Thanksgiving. So my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, she went shopping at midnight. So I met her at the stores because I've never gone to the stores at that time. Yeah. And I remember pulling up to Toys R Us, and I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, people literally lined up around the building. Yeah. And then she drugged me along, and I went to the mall. And it's like certain parts of the mall were open, but the other sides were closed. So you had to know which stores were open that you really wanted to go to, because if you wanted to go to a store, you couldn't go to the other end to wait for it.
Because not everything was open either.
Correct.
Because some of the bigger whatever retail stores, those are the ones that started opening earlier and earlier.
Right.
So if it used to be like traditional store hours, but you had to line up at like 12 o'clock, but then it started opening up at 12 o'clock, which is a whole other fiasco. But
and on another note, I did retail, so I sold phones. So I would have to be in the mall, and I worked at 2 different malls excuse me, for 2 different companies. But each time it was like I literally had to be at the mall at 3 o'clock in the morning to get our store ready to sell phones, and you see people lined up, and I'm like, and I see people just running all over the mall, and it's crazy. Like you see people carrying bags and bags. I remember one time I was in Nextel selling Nextel with the
the walkie-talkie phones.
The walkie-talkie phones, yeah. So I'm standing in my kiosk, and I turn around and see my Uncle Dave carrying these 2 ginormous bags over his shoulder. And they were just coming from him and his wife. Him and my aunt were coming from Macy's. And they just bought, like, all this stuff from there. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Looked insane. He just started laughing. He's like, I don't know. She's got me shopping. But it's like, so could you imagine? So the mall is crowded, right? And you got these big trash bags. Like, they look like 55-gallon drums. But they're just bags. And he's just dragging them over his shoulder, just walking, I guess, to the car or whatever. I don't know. But
So do you guys think that because I know that there are legit deals. The thing is, there's like a play on marketing with certain aspects, well, probably most aspects, where it's kind of what we were talking about, where there's certain deals. For example, like this year's PS5, right? PlayStation 5 is like the thing.
Xbox.
An Xbox. So each store, though, what you're not told is how many each store gets. And
right.
so you could be in line, and those 10 people in front of you all want those 10 Xboxes or whatever, and that's all they have. But you don't know that.
Right.
Technically, neither does the retailer, but that's the reason why they started to do the ticket thing.
Yeah.
Just because it was kind of, they didn't want to necessarily waste anyone's time. Like, you're waiting in line, and we appreciate your business,
You could be
however.
like 80th in line. And
And it was like,
already
dude,
gone.
you have no shot, like, in getting one, basically.
And that was the one and only time I ever almost got suckered into going to like the Black Friday, because at the time we used to always go to my aunt in Virginia, and I think my family from Florida was up, and you look through all the flyers and stuff, whatever. So I think my cousin's boyfriend, whatever, he was looking for like a laptop or something. We went. It was like at that point stores didn't open till like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But they said, oh, let's go early in the morning, like 3 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Not realizing that, one, we were like way far back anyway, but he wanted the laptop, which we didn't realize you had to get a ticket for. So we wait in line for the heck of it, got in the store, and then, you had to get a ticket when you first walked in. So it was like, I wound up buying something random just because I was like,
I think it was a
we waited
game.
all this time. Yeah. It was like, so it was like, I just had to buy something just like to make something worth out of it. And I think I had these, because we went to a Best Buy, so I wound up having like these little tickets or something. Like, it was like little, like they were all like worth $1. So I was like, I must have used, they were about to expire anyway. So I was like, let me just use something, make it some kind of trip worth out of it.
That's hilarious. But yeah, no, there are real deals. It's not that. It's like, I think that sometimes they push the on the marketing aspect, thinking that everyone's going to have the opportunity to get this, which is not necessarily the case. Depends on what you're getting. Like the video game stuff, that's a rarity. Electronics, they're going to have limited, quantities. Even like little stuff. Or I think it was Boscov's, or like one of those big department stores, that every hour they had like a new deal. So it kind of encouraged you to come back, or like, electronic department having a sale, 60% off from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. So you come back, and then you had to beat the clock type of thing. Or you got like a free gift from, it depends on the hour. So from,
like a door prize?
Yeah, like a door prize, like an MP3 player in like 2020. And it's like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but then it still entices people,
People like free stuff anyway, so.
Yeah. And so, it was that. There was a funness to it. I think it was just because, it was just me and my wife. It was just us. I mean, we didn't have kids, we didn't have anything. There was no real true responsibility, and we both had off. So I was like, oh, why not? Let's join the. So it was crazy, and it was craziness, but we really went for like people watching. So then I remember sitting down on like one of those like massage chairs or whatever, and that's what we did. We put in like $1 or something, and we're literally just watching people shop,
scramble around.
Yeah, scramble around. I'm like, I wonder what they're getting. I wonder if they got what they wanted. Like, you just have a funny conversation. Grab a soft pretzel, sit down, and enjoy the show. That's pretty much what we did.
I wonder how many people bought stuff just because it was on sale. Not necessarily that they needed it. You know what I mean? Like, you go
I know
people
people do that just regularly.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Like Lauren, she gets me mad sometimes because she's like, "Oh, I got an email and they sent out at this shoe store, I get 50% off, or if I buy something, I get oh, so I'm going to go. I'm like, wait, you don't need it, though. She says, yeah, but it's a good deal. I'm like, yeah, so what? You still don't need it. You don't need another shoe, and you don't need 2 of them because one's half off. No, like, and she's one of those people that gets suckered in those, like, deals. I'm like,
yeah, there's a buddy of mine his wife did the same thing. She would buy, but not even for, it has nothing to do with, like, the Black Friday sale or whatever holiday sale.
Just normal.
It's at the grocery store, and they'll have, like, one of those blue light special things, and it's only them 2 in a house, and she'll get, they'll typically get a bag of Oreos, but because it was buy 2, get 1 free, she bought 3 bags of Oreos and came home. They would expire, and you're trashing them anyway, but you just love the deal.
15 cantaloupes because they're on sale.
You didn't even eat one.
I mean, I do think people definitely do that for sure.
It's just blinders for a sale.
Yeah. But anyway, like that's I agree. I don't think it should take away from actual Thanksgiving to kind of like warp back to that initial conversation. I just think Thanksgiving should just be Thanksgiving. Like if you want to have a sale, you can do whatever you want. But now you're interrupting family values, tradition, time.
For years, they were going too excessive. Where like they were open on Thanksgiving.
It was literally 5
from 1 in the morning.
Like 5 p.m. on Thanksgiving. We're open. It's like
it's
what?
dinner time.
That's like literally dinner time.
Because they were going in and in, but then retailers started reeling it back to like, oh, we're not opening on Thanksgiving Day, or let their open up.
We'll wait till 11 p.m. to open up.
They start slowly pushing it back.
Yeah.
It's all a marketing thing because it's like, all right, that holiday, Thanksgiving, all right, it's over now, so let's think about Christmas. Like,
yes,
and they don't let like one thing.
No.
Dude, like, what was it, a month ago? They had Christmas stuff out already.
Yes.
And then we have a neighbor of ours, my neighbor, he had, like, I want to say, it's been a month now, he had his Christmas tree up.
Yeah.
They had like a little ceremony, tree lighting of the tree 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then a week or 2 after that, they're carving pumpkins in the living room. Like, wait, you have the tree up lit, Santa Claus there, and it was Halloween. They were carving pumpkins the day before Halloween.
So you're just overlapping everything.
I'm like, dude, it's like, are you guys doing it just for the attention, or are you just doing it because you really like this, like the Christmas holiday?
But the other part too is that Black Friday now is the entire month of like October and November.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, this year's unprecedented, obviously for many other scarier reasons, odd and weird reasons. But one of them is because, like they said, they canceled. So many people are obviously, number one, really can't make it out to the stores this year, are either panicking or scared to go, or just don't feel comfortable, whatever.
Yes.
So they're gonna take a loss on some level. So what did they do? It's Black Friday sales all month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
And you get the emails and they say daily things.
Well, then this was a couple years back where it was Black Friday, everyone's physically going to the store, and then a lot of people order stuff online, so they came up with the Cyber Monday, which was that following week, following Monday or whatever. And I think a lot of everyone's gonna be doing that, the whole like cyber thing.
It's been going on for
But now it still goes back
Amazon,
to we're gonna retrograde back to what the issue that we're having now, right? Remember when people were panicking and rushing into the stores when they opened at a specific time? Yeah. Now they're telling us you better order now because we can't guarantee it's going to be delivered to your home before the holiday. Yeah. So now you got people crashing these websites, and it's basically the same thing, just in a virtual, I guess much safer way. But I never really fell for the trap. Like I said, if there was something and it came my way, we just went for it. But it's not, bulldozing other individuals just to get to. So it's a really scary thing, and people, hate to admit it or say it or bring it up, but money talks.
Sure.
And that's all about money. That's all that is, honestly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because if the stores actually care, it all ends up with them, the profit and loss. It's all about them. Yeah. Making a buck. What else is it for? I mean,
100%. Yeah. Why else would you get trampled for a tickle me Elmo?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Well, and parents, a lot of parents just do whatever it takes, even if that's, unfortunately, that's what it means, putting someone else in harm's way, just to get your kid a toy or something, which is kind of an unfortunate thought. But again, to top all of this off, that whole holiday is so jacked up. Yeah. It's so misused, abused. Mm-hmm. It's just that whole thing. None of this should even be a thing. Yeah. And wanting to give someone a gift is always it's a good thing if it truly comes from your heart and you really want them to have this. You can afford it. There's a lot of factors in there, but just running up a credit card and just overdoing all these crazy things, and skipping Thanksgiving one holiday just to celebrate,
Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. You can't skip that.
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's strong opinions either way. I kind of just lay in the middle and just man, I gotta have Thanksgiving.
Yeah, of course.
Emphasize that day. I love it.
It's a thing. The other thing too is like what takes away from it is like Thanksgiving to me is like there's no real stress per se that comes with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're making food and you got a lot of people, that's prepping for a party though. That's not necessarily like stress in another way where people turn Christmas into this big financial stressful situation basically that are overly concerned and worried and just it's just not healthy.
Yeah, I just going back to like being a kid. Like Thanksgiving was like we would go to our grandparents' house, and hang out with our cousins and whatever. And then like obviously I'm young enough, so we have school, so we're off that week. So like Thanksgiving, and then Friday, like our parents weren't into the Black Friday thing, but they would like put up our Christmas tree was our tradition. That Friday, put up the tree, decorate the whole house because that Saturday was a Bristol Boroughs Christmas parade, and the parade went right in front of our house.
Oh, okay.
So we're like prepping up for like that Saturday, like at noon, the parade's coming. So Saturday morning, we're waking up and getting everything ready, and like my mom and dad have the house like smelling like we always had artificial trees, but Pop always had this spray, this
make it
pine
sound like
smell.
pine.
Yeah.
And the house is dressed up, man.
To the nines, lights everywhere. So all of our friends and family would come to our house and sit on our porch, and like my mom would make hot chocolate and coffee, and it's dude, that's where like I go back to those times when like
simple.
Obviously, when you're a kid, there's no, there's things were easy, but it's like, dude, now it's like I feel like even the kids are stressed on like, like it's crazy, and it's all like that. Everything's on social media, like, and these kids like I get ads. I'm on Instagram. You probably these pop up ads like sales and stuff come up, so it's like in your face 24/7.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely it causes an odd level of stress. I would say because it's literally around this time.
Yeah.
That you like. Let's all be honest. Like when it's summer, everyone has like that weird thing. Like I have to take a vacation. Right? Like I have to go on vacation, right? I'm not saying like everybody, because, after, growing up, then you realize other people take vacation during the winter or the colder times, I should say, and then go down south or whatever, do their thing. But there's this obligation to, all of a sudden, everyone's doing X, Y, and Z, and now it's almost like the one time where it's kind of forced because it's the quote holiday season.
Yeah,
right.
Where taking a vacation in the summer, it's up to you whenever you want to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it is kind of interesting. But anyway, so the Thanksgiving thing again for me, it's a reminder because I like people say it's like, oh, you should be thankful every day. Absolutely, you should.
Yeah.
But it's like a purposeful day, right? Just like you can't take away every other holiday, right? Veterans Day, we should be thankful for our veterans every single day. It's the same thing, but that special, that day we put extra consideration into their sacrifices and thank them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what I want to, emphasize or whatever. And I just find it to be, it's a time where we're truly enjoying and not judging as much as other holidays and enjoying it, right? And like I said, I don't think the stress is there. You don't have to put up a tree for Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to necessarily, you don't even have to decorate if you don't want to.
Yeah.
People do, but
Should be time to get together if you don't always get to do that.
Right. All right, so let's switch it over to dad life. What experience do you plan to have with your kids during this holiday season? It's a little bit different this year.
So with the whole thing, Thanksgiving, obviously, like I have my little the deep fried turkey tradition thing. So Ava just started getting into baking. So she's like baking like pies, apple pies, pumpkin pies, the strawberry whip pies. So she's like, Dad, what should I do this year? I want to do something. I want to start doing something from here on out. Like, so she's doing this strawberry pie. 'Cause typically, someone always brings like a pumpkin pie. So something. So I'm trying to have her like this
something.
this strawberry whipped pie that she makes, it's amazing with graham cracker crust. So
good.
it's like her signature thing.
it's
So I'm like,
super good.
you should start doing that. Like
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving, just bring that all
that's
the
definitely
time.
non-traditional.
And exactly. And just it's something different, but it'll be your tradition to Thanksgiving
Yeah.
dinner. If everyone likes it in the family, that'll be their. They'll look forward to that time.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
she's gonna do that, and that's so we're starting a little. You know what I mean? She's 13, so baking is the beginning of that little. She's not
Kind of
cooking a turkey.
creativity.
Yeah. So yeah, but that's what and that's all it is. You just those holidays like Thanksgiving, you want to build like memories. You want to
Yes.
and like just create like traditions with
Yes.
your kids so they don't forget. Like I said, my story about like growing up when we Thanksgiving and the parade and stuff. So you want to build those memories for them, and just have them be creative and help out too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. My kids, they definitely look forward to being dressed up for whatever reason. They just look forward for the clothing.
Get all fancy.
Yeah, and they literally they were online shopping on the iPad and showing me and Jess, my wife, and I like what they wanted to wear, and like so Nova's outfit came in this weekend, so she's like super excited. She's like, "Look what I'm wearing for Thanksgiving! Now I got to get brown boots and this." Like going on and on, and Danica's like, "Well, I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna get that." I'm like, "The heck!" So, but it's like something that they kind of like look forward to because it's like special outfits that they that they pick out themselves to kind of fit in for the holiday or whatever. So that's kind of like my thing as of recent with my kids.
Yeah, that's dope. I think I'm gonna. Hopefully the weather holds up. I want to continue my thing with James. Make sure we're going out back playing football, jumping in the leaves. This obviously now we have Cade. I think last year we did it with Cade, or he was napping during. I remember he was like MIA for something when me and James were out back, and I think the year before obviously he's a baby. So, but anyway, so this year I kind of look forward to that because they're super physical and they're basically wrestling at all times anyway. Yeah. So I want to keep that going. And just kind of like what Goose is saying, reminisce about, my childhood and talk about them. And I do a lot with James and plan to do with Cade too, driving around Bristol and explaining things. This is where I grew up. This is where I went to school. This is the house we grew up in. This is my buddy's house. This is where we used to get our pizza from. Like just little things. So I try to keep that, that memory or that flame going on, to some extent. But yeah, we'll see. I know, in 1 year I brought James to one of the football games just to show him, like, this is what we did growing up. It's cool. And, to tag on to, just to add on to our own tradition. That's why I want to purposely do the football game out back, just us, even if it's just having a catch.
Yeah.
But maybe adding something to that. Who knows? I don't know. It's a fun time. It could be an exciting time. And, we embrace it definitely in my house. All right, so cheers to all you guys. Obviously, since it's that time of year, I just want to say thank you for everything you guys do, week in and week out, showing up and making this all possible. So thank you guys.
Thank you for putting this together. You're always the A1 man, making sure we have the itinerary set out, and without you, man, this would not be here. And thank you, big shout out to you on that, Jim.
All right, so there you have it. We like to wrap things up with quotes, and the first one is by Douglas Wood. The heart that gives thanks is a happy one, for we cannot feel thankful and unhappy at the same time. Second one by Voltaire. Appreciation is a wonderful thing. It makes what is excellent in others belong to us as well. Friendsgiving. In this episode, the crew talks about their holiday experience of Friendsgiving with each other. We cover topics that range from Thanksgiving, the food, the people, the conversations, and much more. We wrap the episode up with quotes from Douglas Wood and Voltaire. Awesome. Guys, thanks again for joining us. The Rotated Views podcast was produced for self-development purposes. Huge shout out to our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Blessed Lifestyle brand. That is BL3SSED.com. Also sponsored by The Motivation Files Unleashed. This motivational mixtape will be your fuel for success. Available on all platforms. Guys, don't forget to visit the website, JimmyleeVelez.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rotated Views. If you have any inquiries or questions, email us at info@JimmyleeVelez.com. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, we wish you massive success. Stay blessed.